we're gonna have one of a few really, really interesting people here in Berlin on board that make up the a society, or like a group that is really, I think, unique and special to Berlin. I have the feeling there's this theme emerging of people doing factual content here, journalism, documentary, that I don't see in that form anywhere else. So Berlin starts to become a hub where a lot of those people have their offices, their roots, that start doing anything that is non-fiction, that is not maybe a fantastic experience, but it is more concerned with the real world than those more gaming-oriented things. And one of those people who works on that is Susanne here, who is from IntoVR and is going to talk about storytelling versus story living today and some of the lessons you learned. By now, how many experiences did you guys push out by now?
Lots. Last time I counted, I think like 60, 70, not 80, 90. So I'm really not sure, I'm sorry.
Since I know those guys, I've been astonished by the frequency that they have when it comes to publishing content. It's really insane. Like they come from a journalist background and they're used to producing things much faster than a lot of us coming from more traditional backgrounds or no backgrounds at all, like me, have. And it's really crazy. And I have the feeling you guys really try out something new every time, learn something new every time. So you've brought us experiences from the operating room, from the borders of the Ukraine, from the front lines of Iraq, and like a lot of crazy stuff that is really worth seeing because it's so much more immediate than a lot of VR that is out there. And I'm really, really interested to hear today about some of the lessons that you've learned when it comes to bringing your content out, because they are different channels, and it seems like they have to be treated differently. And with that, give it up for our next speaker here, and
thank you.
Fill us with your wisdom.
Thanks. I try. Thank you for the very warm welcome. As you said, we're journalists, so we're a team of 6 people. My co-founder Martin cannot be here today, but Christiane, who's over there taking a few pictures, she's been going to, for example, Ukraine and Iraq, and has lots of experience. So if you want to talk to her as well, really feel free to ask her a few questions. And so we're not exactly coming from the tech side, but more from the storytelling side. Like we know what a compelling story should look like. And what journalists like is talking, as you can see. But what we like even more is when someone is listening or reading what we're publishing. So we really try to see how our pieces are being perceived. And what is really great for that is actually Facebook, because that gives quite a few statistics about that. And one of our main customers is Blick from Switzerland, a media brand from Switzerland, and they publish our content on various channels, like Facebook, on YouTube, on their own website, and they have as well a VR app where you can watch it on a mobile phone with a magic window effect, as Zilla Watson called it in her famous report. But as well, you can view it on VR goggles. If you have a headset like a cardboard app, for example, they distributed lots of cardboards when they started the app. So there's lots of ways. And as well, they show the content on VR cinemas, on festivals. So actually, that's kind of a dilemma for us, because that's a lot of different ways to distribute, to show our content, and actually those different ways would need a different approach. That's something that we learned from the pieces that we created, and I will show you a bit about that on 2 examples that we've produced. On the right-hand side, you see our piece about Stasi prison. You're a Stasi prisoner. And on the left-hand side, you see a travel piece made by Martin in early 2016. He went to California. Here you see a few parts of this video in Little Planet mode, just a few snippets of it. He went to California and decided on the go there. He visited Silicon Valley and San Francisco, and then he decided to shoot a few scenes. Actually, that was his very first film ever he did in 360-degree videos, and he was just stunned by this countryside there, and so he decided to do a few pieces. Like you see, it's really a beautiful thing, and he shot that with a 6 GoPro mount, and had really lots of cool things there. And in the end, it was kind of a success. For example, as you can see, we were on several festivals in Russia, in China, in Switzerland. The piece won the NAV award, which was for everyone a surprise, as well for Martin himself. If you look at this, it was quite a good success, especially for the very first piece. But then we had a look on how the audience perceived it. And you see it's like 3.8 thousand views on YouTube. On the website of Die Welt at that time. And that was like really bad, and it gets even worse. That was 3K views on a Facebook page which had like tens or hundred thousands of followers. So that was like crazy. That was a really downside for all of us. But there was one exception. You may see that, like 48K views, which were on Martin's own little Facebook page. At that time, he had about 1,000 followers. So how could that happen? In this case, that was just a short teaser trailer. And I hope that I can show you a little bit of that. Yes. So you might have seen that it's like 1 minute and something long. The whole report was about 5 minutes and 43. So are there any ideas by anyone here why this could have, why there's such a great difference? Why there was 58, like nearly 60K views on that small piece on Facebook? And on the other one, like the big report with beautiful landscapes and everything, just 3.8K views. Any ideas? Yes.
Maybe because Facebook pushes shorter videos a bit more in the algorithm, and then also more people watch it because it's shorter. So both.
Okay. Other ideas?
Because that one's more relatable in some sense, where people in that way, it's something I can imagine doing every day with people that I'm involved with, opposed to the other one seems so grand.
Yeah, that's already really 2 great remarks on that. Let's have a short look on and compare these 2 different pieces. Like as I said, the one is 1 minute, about 1 minute, the trailer. It's just not much information, just music, sound, and the first picture, that was important. The first picture is a child which has been hidden by a wave, and the second, the report, is like nearly 6 minutes long. We have a narrator telling us a lot of information about California, about Highway 1 and everything. And the first pictures just some landscape, beautiful landscape, but just landscape. And if you have a look in the inside of the metrics of Facebook, we see the most important is actually when you compare the 3-second views to 10-second views. Like 57% of those who watched the trailer for 3 seconds, they stick for 10 seconds, whereas relatively it's less for the report. So that's important for Facebook. Facebook really likes when people stay and watch something. So that was an important thing. The reactions, I don't think that I have to say anything about the reactions. The relationship between those two is like 12 comments versus 285 comments, and shares were as well different, a huge difference. And Facebook as well really likes it if people comment on something, if they are engaged. So those are two important things to consider for Facebook videos. And the third one, the average watch time. Of course, 25 seconds is less than 34 seconds for compared to the whole report. But it's if you compare it to the whole length of the report, that's by far better. So Facebook says this video, the short one, is better. So it's not exactly that Facebook likes short videos, as you said. It's that it likes when people watch a higher percentage of a video. And as people tend to scroll down, a short video probably will be viewed longer in percentage than a short one. And the second piece, that's more important if we watch it on VR goggles. It's called Was wollten Sie in Berlin? What did you want in Berlin? It's about, as I mentioned, it's about being a Stasi prisoner. You're former prisoner of the former state security of the former GDR, which was a kind of dictatorship, communism dictatorship. So if you were in that prison, it was a really bad experience. And you are, and the whole time you're feeling like being a prisoner yourself. We just got, we are very proud to say that we just received a nomination for the Deutsche Reporter Prize on this piece. So it's a really great thing, and we produced that in 4 different versions, based on what we find out about what people like on Facebook and on other channels. Like you see, the longest one is nearly 10 minutes, and the shortest under 1 minute. So the experience itself is, as I said, you're a prisoner. So the camera is actually the viewer, and we had actors who were playing with the camera, which was kind of a difficult situation for them to play to his camera, to watch into the camera, because usually they really should not watch into a camera, and now they were really urged. And it's like here, it's a bit difficult for someone to extend a hand and act with a person that is not really there, to act with a camera which cannot reach out his hand or her hand as well. But it was a great thing. And we based all the story on historical facts. So we worked with historians to make it as accurate as possible. And if we would shoot a normal 16:9 video, we would probably do a shot like this, the over-the-shoulder shot, because it looks actually pretty beautiful. But in 360-degree, in this 360-degree video, we wanted to the camera, the user later on, be this person. So the prisoner never stood behind the guards. So that position for the camera was forbidden, as well as this one. Like when we shot that piece at the Stasi-Gedenkstätte Hohenschönhausen, the former Stasi prison itself, and when you're there at this, you can visit it. It's kind of a museum, and usually you would see a scene like this. But you were, as a prisoner, you were not standing at the side. You were always like this. You always were in front of the prisoners. So we placed always the camera where the prisoner had to be. So in that case, that's not exactly storytelling. That's not just like being a viewer for the camera, for the user. They're part of the story. So that's why we say, in that case, that's really story living, and it gets even deeper when you look at that scene. When the prisoners came into the prison, they had to undress, like completely. Like, I really mean completely. And they were like looking into every hole of your body. So our actors had to do that as well with the camera. And it's really a frightening scene. So for the viewer, as I said, it's living, it's being part of the video. So that's why we say, in that case, it's more story living than storytelling. And it's different from any other journalistic video that you might create in 16:9. So as I said, we had this really long piece. We did that only for VR goggles, for the VR headset, and to be displayed in VR cinema. Why? Because it's really hard stuff to watch. As I said, you're the prisoner. You will be locked away. You will be interrogated, and we didn't want to let the users be alone with this situation. So what we did, we displayed it in the museum, in the Gedenkstätte Hohenschönhausen, on a VR cinema with about 100 people came there, and we had a panel discussion later on. We explained before what the people would experience, and afterwards there was a discussion with people who were former prisoners, with people from the Gedenkstätte Hohenschönhausen, who all try to give a perspective on what the people experienced there. But as I said, this is just the version for VR headset, because it's like pretty long. We were actually astonished that no one took off the goggles before, but they did. They always, all of them stayed in this experience. But you could never publish a video like this on Facebook, because it's just too long, it's too much for people to view. So now I hope I can give you a short impression.
Gesicht zur Wand.
Kommen Sie!
Was wollten Sie in der Hauptstadt der Deutschen Demokratischen Republik?
Wenn die mich angesprochen haben, dann habe ich geantwortet.
When they talked to me, I
ob das noch jemand
answered.
gemacht hat in der Runde. Ich habe denen ständig geantwortet.
Die echten Vernehmer, die ja, wenn sie damals jünger waren und jetzt noch leben,
she's a widow of one of the prisoners, and she says that the interrogators should view this.
ein paar Gedanken machen und sagen, was haben wir hier gemacht?
So that's a short impression of the movie, and for fair and conference situations, we had a different version, which was not like 10 minutes long, but about 3 minutes. And here are some reactions from there, which made us really happy.
Guck mal, ich sage nicht, ich habe nichts zu sagen.
Like you see, he really answered on those questions. And then we had a few shorter versions for Facebook and, well, especially for social media channels. For example, that was press footage for Berliner Morgenpost, which is a local newspaper here. They showed on their Facebook page with a version of like 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, and version that works without audio. Because you maybe know that Facebook videos usually work without audio because many people are scrolling down. So I know that that's this huge buzzword of spatial audio and how important it is. Well, if you think about the many persons who right now, like how many persons are really watching our content on a VR goggle? Well, I'd love to be more than it is right now, but most people actually watch it like this on a magic window, on a Facebook screen, on a mobile phone, or on a computer. So it's really important to make your content accessible without audio, like really without audio, not like without spatial audio, but really like without any audio. So that's why we put, I don't know whether you can see it, but we have like little text inserts there so that you can read at least what they're saying. I know that's not exactly the same as what you think about, which is what is great content, like this immersive stuff. I really like the immersive stuff myself as well, but you really have to consider what is your audience and what they, which way they receive your content. And do I have some more minutes? Okay. I will rush through that. Another thing which is very important is timing. Like sometimes we matches. So we sometimes even work overnight to produce pieces as close to a venue as possible. Like in that case, we had a concert and we published the piece at the next morning, or in this case, even while the red carpet show was running, we had the very first piece, and you can see. Like that was the first one, which was already which was like while the show was running, 13K views, and the roundup with all those famous stars and everything, 3K views. Well, that Facebook page is not very good, but you see in the comparison that it's really important when you publish your content. So to sum up a little bit. What is really important are the very first seconds. I see so many videos there which start with black screen and title, which is not for Facebook. It's awesome. It's awesome for VR headset, but it's not that appropriate for Facebook or YouTube or any other social media. Consider, if you publish on social media, consider length, timing, and that your content is shareable, that it's engaging, and that it is accessible without audio. So coming back to our dilemma, you remember that we published for BlickVR, who are distributing our content more or less everywhere. We try to make our content perceptible or accessible on VR goggles. So we really try not to give people motion sickness, for example, but we always try to come back to that things that the first picture is very important, that it's engaging, that it's interesting. So even when we have lots of different ways to distribute our content, we try to come back to those social media related points that are important. And I think I unfortunately have to skip this, but that's from Iraq, where my colleague...
The men facing the wall are terrorists. They wanted to promote the so-called Islamic State in Iraq. We are in the north of the country, near Mosul.
My colleague Christiane was there, and you were just witnessing how some ISIS soldiers got captured that was the very first beginning of her piece. So that's a really compelling thing where you really want to stop by, and we can see that this is working. At least that's what our colleagues from Blick are telling us, that those pieces are really good pieces and shareable pieces. So I think I'm pretty much done. Thanks.